Mhm. Did I bring the book?
No. Oh.
Sorry, y'all, we're getting a hot mess. Right? Definitely getting a hot mess. Just a minute. So I'm here with Ruby Lee, and we're gonna discuss the art of seduction. Okay, so you read a little bit of on the book, and I just invited Ruby at last minute. I just feel like Ruby, I can have a great conversation, and
Always.
I just want to discuss a little bit about what the book is about. So we're gonna go real quick. I'm not gonna go into like all the types of characters. I mean, I'll discuss a few because you know, I have a few things to say about some of these, but for the most part, I guess like I said earlier, like the book is just teaching you the psychology of how to reach other people. And in essence, it just says like we all have a void to fill based on our types of characters. And it gives you like different characters and how to seduce them. And in seducing, I know it sounds like it's such a powerful word and it can sound negative, but it's talking about, in seducing, you can seduce like your kids, people that you normally work with, people that, that you network with, people, anything that you manage, your lovers, everything. And so it gives you a better comprehension, not just of who you are, but how other people are. Mm-hmm. And so this is what it says. You need to be able to identify the type of personality that you are, because the one big no-no is you cannot seduce somebody of your own type. So if you're a siren, and the siren is like, so the siren is somebody that has a lot of sex appeals, like let's say like Marilyn Monroe. Okay. Okay, and the warning with the sirens is that they're gonna get old, and their charms don't work the same way as they get old. Like this is something that works like when you're younger, right? Mm-hmm. So it basically explained to you that the psychology behind it is that you need to understand that, get in, and then it talks about the rake, which I do want to bring up because the rake. Have you ever been in love with a rake? And do you know which one the rake is?
I don't know which one the rake is.
Okay, the fuckboys.
Oh,
guilty.
Yeah, very familiar.
Right, and so they say like usually what the rake does is it's like somebody that will go to large extent like uh you know somebody that love bombs you, I guess is what we would call it. Uh-huh. And so they make you think like you're the one, you're the only one I want, you're like everything. And they'll go to like extreme measures of like changing their personality, like learning the things you like and adapting to that. Like if you like riding horses, they're gonna learn to ride a horse. That. But once they get what they want, they leave. Oh yeah. They're done with their conquest, right? And so it helps us like be aware of people like this, because there's people like this like in sales. I feel like yes, right? Yes. Like, they tell you what you want, like what you need to hear, like and then once they get the sale, they're done. Like they're not.
Yeah, then you're driving away off the lot with a 28% APR. And that's not what you should be doing.
It's not how everything.
Yeah, I'm like, I just leave it off.
So yeah. that's if we can relate like all of these like to real life. It talks about the dandy, and the dandy is like somebody that just marches to the beat of their own drum and does like their own thing, and they're just like different than like they stand out because they're different and they do things like their own way. I guess like somebody would be like Prince.
Yeah.
Like Prince is very different, but he had a lot of sex appeal. Yeah. Like a lot of women would throw themselves at him.
Gosh, he did have a lot. I would say I would say I could relate more to that one. Like the Marilyn Monroe, not so much. Yeah. I'm like, I don't know, that's not me all the time. And then the other one where I don't adapt for that person, mm-hmm. just to attract and then boom, But this one, yes.
Right. Yeah, so it
Like-
makes you see, and then there's like the charmer, the coquette, the anti-seducer. Let me see which.
Did you say
The
you were a few of them?
natural. Yeah, I have multiple personalities because I fit into so many of them, but they say that that's a good thing because that
Yeah.
means that you've just been adapting to like the different ways of like seducing people. So without knowing, I've been adapting to or like using rules for one reason or another. Like if somebody's a flirt, like there's like the coquettes are like the flirt, and
Okay.
and their charm is just like not in like submitting to you. So like let's say like there's people that just like to flirt, like they're just flirt, but they don't want to sleep with you. Like they just have that voice of needing that feeling of feeling interesting and wanted, right? And there's a star. The star is somebody that needs all their attention on them, and like I'm sure we've all met like a friend or something like that. I love hanging out with stars because I don't like attention on them.
Yeah, because it's all that.
Yes, I'm like, you
whatever.
too, girl. Like, yes, please. Like,
I'm just gonna sit back here.
yeah, I'm good, girl. Eating my chicken wings.
Right? Let me be.
And so, but it teaches you how to identify these people and identify what their goals are. And a lot of like the examples that it gives you are from like, ages ago, like the 1400s, 1600s, the 1800s. Why? Because back then women didn't have like rights like we do now. And men basically had like they took whatever they wanted. And so women had to find a way to like charm their way into men's life. And so a lot of the psychology that's like based on like Cleopatra, like Cleopatra was like a siren, but there's like the dandy, the ideal lover. And so the ideal lover is somebody that like they go along with everything you say. And so there can be like a problem with like the ideal lover because like let's say I become infatuated with you and then I show up the next day with my hair like the same outfit. And sometimes like it's good, but they tell you like to watch yourself because like you can be overbearing or like the lover, the who you're trying to seduce can lose interest. And so it's not a bad thing to be an ideal lover and have similar interests and all that. But it has like a line of like, okay, so this is where you need to be careful. And it explains that in all the personalities basically. Like kind of like the siren. Like it's like, yes, that's a great idea, but you're gonna have to switch like as you're getting older. That's not gonna work anymore. Like now you're gonna have to seduce people through their mind because beauty fades, but your mind doesn't. And so if you're naturally attractive, like because of your mind, then you're going to be attracted for a long time. You'll seduce for a long time. And so that's basically what the book is teaching you, and it's really awesome. Like, so after it teaches you like all the types of, personalities and what people are, the way people are, then it teaches you actually how to implement and how to make sure like that you are like, okay, you met a star. How do you attract the star? Like, okay, you met a coquette. Like, how do you deal with a coquette? Like, normally, like, let's say you found like somebody that has the personality of an ideal lover. Like, I show up the next day wearing the same outfit as you with the same haircut.
Tomorrow I'm gonna wear this, girl. What are you talking about? With my leggings.
Right. And so if some people would find them annoying, and it tells you like, no, be flattered. Like this is how you have like this is like the rate, like the rate it shows like how women like for ages have fallen for rapes and then they feel like they take it away, and then once they take it away, like it brings you down. And so it just teaches you to identify that so that you don't fall into those pits, because you're right. Like if we fall in for a fuckboy, a rake. Um,
So I'm gonna call him now Rake.
a rake, yes. Then it does leave us like how many girlfriends do you not know that have fallen for a guy like this that use this seduction type on them or even on themselves, and when they end things or when they ghost us, like it leaves you feeling inadequate, like you're not enough, like
Oh yeah.
like you were, like it's a feeling of confusion but inadequacy, like
What did I do
happened?
wrong?
Yeah, what
Like,
did I do?
what's wrong with me?
Right,
Like,
and it's nothing
maybe I
that you
didn't call too
did.
much. Maybe
Right.
I felt too, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, like maybe I became an ideal lover with this guy, or I don't know. Like I maybe we love, but it does say like women love attention. Like women love attention. So that's why we easily fall for somebody like the rape, because we love like the rape does have this, like we said, like they'll go to your interest, like they'll study you, like they will go to the end of time to seduce you, but it's not genuine. And so if you could identify a fuckboy before ahead of time, like how much further ahead would you be in life?
I need to read that chapter. I didn't get that far, but I just direct me to that part.
Right.
Then I'll go over the rest.
And so, right, like so it helps us in genuinely like with relationships, not just like with lovers, but like with people, like I said, like if your friend shows up and all of a sudden like she's dressed like you, then you know how to handle that situation. If you have like an anti-seducer, and an anti-seducer is like somebody that doesn't want anybody's attention, doesn't want anybody like, that kind of goes against the grain. Like they don't want to seduce you, they want you to hate them. And there are people with that personality,
Yeah.
and we still have to deal with them in the business world and like in sales sometimes.
Be a coworker.
Right. It could be a coworker, it could be like a sale, like I mean, clearly like they need cars, they need soaps. And so how do you handle that situation? Because you're like, you don't even want to deal with it. But the book teaches you like this is how you seduce an anti-seducer. And like the anti-seducer is just somebody that like they just don't feel the same as like everybody else. Like, the coquette, the charmer, the siren, like everybody else is trying, and the anti-seducer, it could be like that they've been scorned, and now like
For sure.
They're very skeptical, and they didn't they made a rake.
They made a rake and they don't want no
rake.
attention. They're still trying to figure out what's wrong with me.
Yeah. Right. I don't trust anybody or anything in this
You're gonna
world.
use me. You probably don't even like to go dancing.
Right. Like
You just told me
I
that.
bet your name's not Ruby Lee.
Right?
Right. And we don't know, but these experiences leave us feeling like that. And so that's what it teaches you, that this is why this person behaves this way, and this is how you get through to them. And and this is like a siren. Like normally there are women who take power. Like men usually have to have like a lot of control. Like they have to, be in control of their house and everything, and work and so many things. And so the reason they were attracted to the sirens is because they're overpowerful with sex appeal. And so then the sirens take control. But men don't like this all the time. Like it's just something that they like momentarily. And that's why it tells you like you have to be careful, because even though you can attract the man as like a siren, or you can attract somebody as a siren, that appeal doesn't last too long, like if there's no substance to it, and so it teaches you, like, regardless of which character you are, how to kind of deal with it. And yes, so this is what the art of seduction is about. I actually loved it. I've been like indulging in it, audiobook, I've been reading it like in the sauna, and I actually love it. Like I think that I want to go back and read this book again, just to keep indulging in the psychology of how to deal with people, and how I think the better that you are at dealing with people, that's how you become better manager. That's how you become a better business owner, because you build relationships, and you build good relationships with people based on what their needs are. If you know that you have a need, what my needs are, then it allows you to be more empathetic, like more compassionate and more understanding of what everybody's needs are. Like a dandy has needs, a siren has needs, a rake has needs, an anti-seducer has needs, the natural has needs. And so the star has needs, and I mean, we all have needs. And so that's what it teaches you. And I really love it. I actually, Robert Greene has really great books. He has the 48 Laws of Power. I want to read The Mastery. But the Art of Seduction was something that I wasn't sure if I was going to like it. I was just like,
all right.
Not completely.
I want to read it now.
Yeah, because now you hear what it's about, right?
Yeah.
But just listening to the title, like I'm like, well, I'm not trying to.
Yeah, I was like,
I'm not trying to.
Seduction.
I'm not on the prowl,
All right. Well, I know I do just turn 40, so maybe I should read this. I don't know. It's gonna teach me some things. I don't know.
Yeah, you think that, and in reality, all it deals with is psychology, and it gives you examples of, every piece that is actually teaching you. So it's not just teaching you, like then it goes off into a story, like showing you this is an example of that situation. And so these are situations that have been, like I said, they've been happening since the 1600s, 1400s, 1800s. This hasn't gone away. Like this took a lot of studying to understand people. So definitely, guys, I highly recommend it. You know, for those of you that love to read, and those of you that even if you don't love to read, like if you can listen to it in an audiobook, if you have to deal with a lot of people, and we do. And
yes.
And I think you're right. Like the older we get, the more we have to understand others. So it is important. And I highly recommend this book. And if you want to be a part of the book club, we have a book coming up next month. And we're going to do the book review on Wednesday, October 27th. And it's the same topic, guys, because for us entrepreneurs, us that are managers, us that have our own thing going, and we have to deal with people, you do have to understand the psychology. People can't always conform to you. You have to understand where people come from. So the next book is How to Influence People, and this is from Dale Carnegie.
Oh, yeah.
How to win. Yes, right. And so this book, oh my gosh, we are going to do it with attorney Carlos Garcia, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And so it goes back to the same thing. The relationships that we build with people are important. And so you have to learn how to deal with different types of people and how to understand them. And, we have to, as you're right, as we get older, understand that there's more substance than, just me. Like everybody has different needs. Everybody has different brains. Everybody looks a little different, and it's okay.
Right. And then going back to that too, like how to deal with certain people, like your kids. Like I know I don't deal the same way with my son versus like my daughter, not just because it's boy and girl, but because of their personalities. Like I know how to come about bringing up a topic of discussion or anything with my kid, depending on who it is, because I know how they're going to react to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
right, like I would tell you that maybe my older son is like a star, and then my little one, I would tell you like he leans more into like the natural, like it's just the natural, like maybe like even a charmer. Because it says you can have more than one, like, but you tend to gravitate more towards one than the other.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But you can have multiple of them, like, or you can wake up one day and be like an anti-seducer, like I'm having a bad day. So nobody's gonna be able to say right that day, right? But if somebody comes in and they're witty and they understand like that you are being an anti-seducer today, then they're gonna be able to let you get your guard down. Mm-hmm. So like it functions in every single relationship, like everything, every kid,
work, your job, everything.
People on the street, yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's easy to identify them once you understand the psychology behind it. So yes, guys. So for those of you wanting to, improve your people skills and have, better people coping skills, better relationships, better personality, they definitely recommend this book. And How to Win Friends and Influence People is next. So I hope to see you all next month. Yes.
Yes.
And thank you, Ruby, for joining us tonight.
Yes, of course.